All right, so Craig writes in, he has a question for Right Capital. He says, hey, Josh, how do you think about the difference between the Monte Carlo simulation end-of-life balance on the retirement analysis tab versus the net worth at end-of-life on the cash flow tab? Here are my numbers, and the Monte Carlo simulations run about a third of what I get for the net worth, a third less. That seems pretty conservative. So basically he's saying, hey, my net worth shows $1 million. All right, when I die, my Monte Carlo scenario shows about 333,000. What's up with that? That's a good question. Good question. So let's look at what he's talking about. So when we're looking at, we'll use our sample client. We got Tim and Kim sample here. Tim and Kim. All right, so here's what he's talking about. What Craig is. This is the Monte Carlo. All right, the Monte Carlo, and right here you see it says $770,000 of the proposed and current plan. They're the same. That is the end of life amount on the median. If we go to confidence, you'll see what I'm talking about. Right here, the median is $770,000. That means 50% of the time there are more, 50% of the time there is less assets than 770. Between 5 and 95%, there's between 451 and 1.36 million. So there's a wide range there. The median is just a number. It says 50% of the time you had more than this, 50% of the time you had less. Now remember, that is based on using the Monte Carlo, which is the average rate of return. I'm under investment, asset allocation, on the right here, the current account. The average rate of return of 4.4% with a standard deviation of 8.1. So just one standard deviation means you could get 12 point, whatever that is, 5% on the high end, which is 66% of the time, or basically negative 4% on the low. 66% of the time you're getting negative 4 or plus 12. 95, you're getting 8% more or less than that. 99.8 or whatever it is, you're getting more. So that's how those standard deviations work, all right? And if you can see, if we go back to retirement analysis, right here, analysis confidence, you'll see what I'm talking about. So you can see you have this wide range, and see how the range just gets bigger and bigger and bigger the more the time goes. It varies more because there's more standard deviations from this year, from that year, from that year, from that year. That will happen the longer you live. It's tighter here because they don't have that much range. It's much more range the longer you live. So that is what the Monte Carlo is. That's part one. All right, now part two, though, actually, it goes to cash flow. It's different from net worth. Part two includes, we're going to go to cash flows, net worth, and if we scroll all the way down, 1.285 million is his ending life net worth, 1.285 million. His ending life before the Monte Carlo was only $770,000. Why? Well, first of all, we're including your houses, your real assets in here as well. So your home is included here, your cars, any kind of asset that you put in there that's a non-liquid asset, liquid being an investable asset. So anything that's non-cash will be included in the total net worth. Secondly, the total net worth includes a linear rate of return on your investments, not the Monte Carlo with a variable at 4.4% average rate of return in this case with an 8.1% standard deviation. Here's just a linear rate of return of 4.4. And how you do this will be a little bit of a challenge here because we have cash flows, net and positive cash flows. But let's just go down to, let's just say right here, we don't have that much cash flows. So we start the year at 203 in 2028. We made 89.59 on our portfolio. So 89.59 divided by 203,000. And that gives us a 4.4% rate of return. The following year, 9,286 divided by 211,027, probably the same thing. Yeah, the exact same thing. 9,577 divided by 217. And so what's happening here is we're getting 4.4% each and every year, a linear rate of return. Now, there is positive and negative cash flows, which will affect that a little bit. In this case, we go here. We had 18,478 portfolio return on $535,000, but we also took money out, so it's going to be a little bit less than 4.4. But what's happening here is our portfolio return is always giving us 4.4% each and every year. So the net worth includes any asset you have there on top of just your liquid assets plus the linear rate of return, 4.4, 4.4, 4.4 each and every year. And again, just going back to this, you'll see that at the end of the day, our ending balance is 912,000, which makes a Monte Carlo, which is 770,000, seem a lot less aggressive. Well, that's simply not true because the Monte Carlo could have been as high as 1.36 million. Hope that makes sense. It's actually a pretty good question. Put your comments in the if you have comments or questions or concerns, put it in the show notes. All right, thanks, guys.